Okay, so we're about to get going with the program here. This is more of pull out your phone, save the date. February 24th, next month, we have an epic event going to be happening here. Why it's going to be epic? I don't know, it just sounds great. We're all epic. It's Tuesday.
You're epic, I guess.
Yeah, I say Tequila Tuesday, some people say Taco Tuesday. If you want to be sheepish, you say Taco. It's Tuesday, whatever. Okay. February 24th. That is going to be correct. A week before Firm. Correct. The Firm is going to be on the 3rd, March 3rd. So it'll be the 24th. But it's going to be amazing. Then March 24th. Put that on as a tentative. The second to last Tuesday of March. Then we're going to pass over to April. And the last Tuesday of April, April 28th, is going to be tentative. So to go through that again, if anybody wants to write it down, February 24th, March 24th, and April 28th. As far as sponsorships, we have to find out if any of the first come, first served bundles want to be taken for this coming month. Otherwise, the sponsorship is open. And like I said earlier, I think there might be 5, maybe 6 spots left. And I plan on telling them. It's a great opportunity. Okay, so that takes care of that. We're going to start off on this side of the room.
Let me.
You want to go through, go through the...
All right, as everybody can see here, we have a brand new wall banner for January through June 2026. So I want to just give a shout out to everybody who's on the banner here because they put their time and effort into getting sponsorship here. You all know what I do. Thank you, Jaco. Okay, Ezra Fireworker, Easy at Balance. Ezra is a fractional CFO. Nova North. We got Chaim right here, Chaim in the house. Commercial real estate, he's your man.
Say his last name 5 times fast.
Okay, MCM, our very own Mickey right here. Mickey, as you see, he's got events down pat. If you have any event or trade show, you need somebody to represent you. He's your man. Let's go this way. Squeezel, he's amazing, by the way. He printed this banner. He does all types of promotions and stuff like that. He did this banner in 2 days. We didn't give him a lot of time.
Don't say that. Bad advertising.
I'm not going to say this, so this should be recorded. Whatever. But he did this literally. He gets this fast. He's on the ball. Chaim and Strauss Jacobson attorneys. They are special that they are both accountants and lawyers in the same firm, and they can give you that extra level of both having financial background for a company that needs that. They're the people for that. Jesse Kaufman, real estate attorney. Balasag Kaufman. He's actually, I think, one of our sponsors coming up. And they do real estate transactions, other law items. John Grisafulli, Apple Bank. John is an RBBN banker. He does our banking for us. And they have a Muncie branch and a New City branch. The manager is Rohan, right? Oh yeah, what's his first name? Mark Friedman. Yes.
Mark sometimes.
Okay, Mark is in the Muncie branch. Okay, and then our very own Chaim, Weissner. Chaim is right there taking pictures and videos, and he does an amazing job. He also does bar mitzvahs, weddings, corporate events. He's the guy if you need a photographer for those types of things. Right here, Chaim Weissner. Thank you. Okay. Jacob Whitehouse, Frederick's Mortgage. Okay, funny story. He is our sponsor for today's event. And he called me about 3-4 days ago that he just had a grandchild in Israel. And he's heading over there. And he's there now. So we're going to have to give him a rain check. So he is the sponsor for today. But next event, he's going to be giving his spiel. Akiva/Jacob Whitehouse. Okay, Chaim Saperstein on the front page right here. Okay, Chaim gives us ad space to promote the event every week. So we want to shout out to the Front Page magazine. If you need your publication, if you need an ad in a publication, that's the publication for the entire Muncie community and beyond.
I just want to say one thing on that note, and it does work. Not that I'm biased about it, but I do get sometimes, even in Passaic, as far as oh, I saw you in the magazine, and I'm trying to remember where or what. Like, oh, right, the RBBN. Okay, fine. That's what it is. Fine now. So do get this.
Yes, that gives good exposure. Yaakov Luck. I get to sit next to Yaakov in the office all the time, and my office is right next to his. So he's hustling, getting businesses with bookkeeping, office supplies, office tasks, office management. Yaakov Luck.
And a big shout out to TCO for the back office, for all the arrangements, for the RBBN, putting things together.
Yes.
And
Yaakov's office
Meek
takes
Tal.
care of, and we make make sure everything's running and proper and take care of all the registrations and finances and all that. So they're doing all the back office stuff for the RBBN also. So as you see, they know what they're doing. Okay, Doug Lubitsky right here, CFS. Financial services. So I'm going to actually talk about some things for me as well personally. So I want to give a shout out to Doug. Thank you. Thanks for joining. What's that? David Ginsburg, Furniture Pro. Right here. David's a good client of mine as well. Office. He supplies schools, offices, and any commercial type of setting with desks, chairs, tables, and all that stuff. Probably did that right? Okay. Jonathan Minos, Refined Cleaning. They do commercial cleaning, high level, work that if somebody moved, they need to get the house all cleaned up or clean an office out. Big scale cleaning jobs. Refined Cleaning, Jonathan Minos. And Upscale Equities, Brady Rappaport. Did she just walk in? I thought I just saw her walk in. Okay. Brady does commercial, residential, any mortgages. Brady does mortgages. She is your go person for any mortgage related items that you might need. Brady Rapport, I think that's everybody. This is just a repeat of the top items. Thank you very much, all you sponsors, and looking forward to a great 2026.
Okay, we're at the challenge part. We're here to share why we're here and at the same time to challenge ourselves. So what we want to do is we want to let you know why we're here, and it can be many different various reasons. A service. Every so often you have people that might be showing up here because there's a change of a job and we're looking for an opportunity. This is getting on the second. Wow, this is getting serious. Okay. All right, Chazar Zikr. All right, so to Chazar that, we have 10 to 15 seconds. It's short, but that's okay. We're all here to network. We want to challenge ourselves. Why we're here, who we're looking to connect with, what do we have to offer, and probably, if we do challenge ourselves, we can get it out for 10 to 15 seconds. And then on a personal note, someone who loves networking and does this as a job, it's also helpful for us. If we're going out to the room and someone says, what do you do for a living? Who are we looking to connect with? At times we're really asking that question to be polite, but really we're not even paying attention to what we're saying, so the attention span might be 5 seconds. If I have to give them out a 30-second spiel, I'm just totally lost the person and mind somewhere else. And that could happen to anybody. So it's a good challenge. Challenge yourself. What do you do? Why you're here? And do it in 10, 15 seconds. I'm going to start the room on this way, and we're going to work the room around.
Sure, yeah. Good morning, Michael Shosh, Bookkeeping Services, QuickBooks Specialist Pro Advisor. I deal with QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online. My job is to do your books so you can do your business. Right now, most of my clients are already done for 2025, so when the accountant asks for it, he gets to file through taxes, and the client continues doing his job. So if you need someone like this to do this kind of work for you, or someone you know needs this kind of help, send them my way.
Good morning. I'm Miriam. I'm with Furniture Pro. I want to ask what you're doing now. You're sitting in a chair, and we could sell that chair to you. You're going to be sitting at a desk later today. We could sell that desk to you. You're going to put your papers in a filing cabinet. We could sell that filing cabinet. And anything else furniture for commercial, office, and school needs.
Good morning, I'm Mr. Schulman with the Jewish Federation of Rockland. We represent the entire Jewish community of more than 105,000 Yidden throughout Rockland County. And our primary project that I've mentioned to you is furthering the security of your shuls, your yeshivo, your day camps. So talk to me about how we can help you with security and advocating for the Jewish community. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Chaim from Furniture Pro. As we heard, everything's furniture related. So I'm sure everyone in this room has a friend or a neighbor or somebody knows that they're building a shul or a yeshiva or an office and they need furniture. So you come to the right place. We're here to help for 20 years. That's what we're doing. Thank you.
Doug Dubinsky, Certified Financial Services. I do protection first, wealth planning. Life insurance, disability, long-term care, and retirement income. Guarantees don't matter until they matter. Then they are the only thing that matters. So everything I do includes guarantees, and to ensure that money doesn't dominate your life, but allows you to live your life, allows your family to live their life regardless of what happens.
One more person from Furniture Pro. So I guess
What do
I'll
you
talk.
guys do?
What do we do? So we obviously furniture. We talked about that a little bit, but we have people on our staff. We have a designer. If you have an idea, you have an empty room. How should I fill it up? We can take that space and fill it properly for you, understanding your needs. After you explain them to us, and fill it up with appropriate furniture that's going to be ergonomic, comfortable, and you'll feel happy going to work each day.
Good morning, I'm Charlie Katzenstein, Bright Star Security, and I do vulnerability testing, pen testing, security awareness analysis for companies. What I'd like to do today is offer anyone who has a website a free vulnerability scan, which I will show you if there are any alerts or not. And I can tell you that about 90% of small businesses have security issues on their website unbeknownst to them. So if you're interested, I'll do a free vulnerability scan on your website. This is also open to all members of RBBN, so you can send out an email to the membership. But it's got to come in before this week, meaning before Friday this week. And talk to me, please, and we'll work it out. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Steve Smith. I'm from Smith Systems. We work with Jewish business owners to help them to exercise and take care of their health. Now, if someone's goal is to lose weight, that's primarily their goal, and that's all they care about, then they're not the right fit for me. But if someone wants to take care of their health, feel good, have more energy, show up in their day the best that they can, then I'm the guy.
Good morning, my name is Arya Marrow. I'm in the custom publishing business. I work with authors and small businesses to help them compose, print, and distribute books of any kind.
Morning, everybody. Chaim, the last member of the Furniture Pro. No, I'm just kidding. Front Page Magazine. Now 22nd year of providing our readers with wonderful reading material and advertisers the best way to reach them. Chaim Saperstein, Front Page Magazine.
Good morning. Thanks, Mickey, for letting me know about this event. I do not do furniture.
You're the one.
Yeah, but it sounds like very good furniture. My name is Blake. I'm originally from Las Vegas, Nevada, so I moved to the city a few months ago. I work for a company that helps businesses communicate better to their audiences. So if you have a service that's just a little bit more complicated and you want to build trust, we help build newsletters, we help build different communication channels to just build trust, and then you build better sales pipelines for clients that you want to sell. So today, I'm happy we basically run newsletters for companies with 600,000 subscribers. We take over their entire account. I'm happy to look over anyone's account, just give feedback, share my thoughts. We're kind of the experts in this space.
Good morning, everybody. Here for Good Breakfast. Also, I'm a CPA by profession. I've worked in over 11 years in CPA public accounting. I personally run an audit department, which is applicable to financial statements typically for bank compliance for their loans. And we also do everything else, tax, consulting, and everything in between. So we reach out if I could help. And if not only for my own firm, I also help reference of people to other firms. I had two guys last week who weren't a good fit for our firm, whatever it is it was. So I gave them, referred them to others contacts I have. Feel free to reach out to help getting out.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Paul with Noah North Commercial. If you're looking for any commercial real estate needs, whether it's office, warehouse, or retail storefront, please reach out. I'm Paul.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Chaim Weissman, Photoshop Chaim. That's my son Gabriel over there. Photoshop Gabriel. So I am your simple photographer. I capture the moment between the poses, right? When you look at photography, look at sim photo, you see the poses, right? Everyone's posing. I capture the moments of your kids, playing, goofing off, sticking out their tongues to each other. I capture the moment when Zadie is, touching the Rummage Boy's cheek, stuff like that. I try to capture the candid moments that make your family unique. In between the poses, like I said. So Photoshop Chaim Weissner, you can reach them and Gabriel, also my assistant. She can help you as well. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, many people go to trade shows, networking events, conferences, whether MCM is around or not. The benefit of MCM is we can help you take off a workload, help add more leads to the bag, create that right noise, make it fun. Reach out to MCM. We specialize in event marketing. Thank you so much. Now that I have the mic as well, probably get in trouble for saying this, but why not? Let's get in trouble. It's Tuesday. Happy late birthday to Yaakov Gluck. Thank you so much. His birthday was yesterday. I was not supposed to find out, but I found out. Sorry. I'll get in trouble later. Okay, that's my 50 seconds.
You're definitely
I'm out.
You're definitely in trouble for that one. Yes, I'm 21 again. Yeah. Yaakov Gluck, TCO Office Services. We take care of all your office headaches, secretarial work, bookkeeping, accounts payables, receivables, collections, payroll, graphic design work, all the annoying office headache that nobody wants to deal with. Some people take Tylenol, some people take Motrin, some even Excedrin, actually, I should have bought those Tylenols. I have a QR code on the front. You scan the QR code, you move over to TCO, no more headaches.
Ashley Friedman, Azurite Marketing. I had a client call me yesterday, a potential client. He's working with a company. They started doing a website together, and he called me. He said, "This is just a disaster. They're going to charge me $500 for all inclusive services for website and marketing on the site." And I showed him. I kind of deconstructed everything they did for him, and we're going to meet today, hopefully, to do a proper site that's well representing him, not just a canned template that's generic social media content and blog posts that they're doing for 50 of their other clients that doesn't get any traction. So that's what I help with. And just a shout out again to Nathan Katz's team for his audit. By the way, my sites, they can get audited, but they're the ones that don't have these problems, hopefully. But
we'll find out.
And I also will offer anybody a free consult if they want about anything AI related for development, programming, searches, and AI searches. through on social media or anything like this. AI searches for SEO. I will be happy to sit down with you and help you out with that. SG Friedman, Azurite Marketing.
Just want to give one more announcement about sponsorship. And it's not just for everyone here, it's for people that might not be here, the people that you know. The benefit that we provide from the RBBN is that there's going to be thousands of views on LinkedIn, plus there's going to be a lot of exposure, things as you heard from Front Page Magazine, getting the logo on there, and then of course have an opportunity when you sponsor a breakfast to come here and be able to do your spiel and not be rushed 10, 15 seconds, give a full explanation to the hows, the whos, the whys, which is a very powerful thing because it's not just about me and you, it's about who you know that I don't know to everyone here. And that's the power of networking. So you get that opportunity and value. The bundle package was being sold at $125 a month, which is, I think a very fair price, which is on top of the savings. Of course, here we are. So we can always tweak that bundle because there's instead of 2 spots in the banner added every 6 months. But bottom line is there's a few spots left. My goal is to fill it up. The benefit of that happening is you're now going to be able to pick your months ahead of time. We can start getting this promoted ahead of time, which is just going to be better for everyone. It's going to help us with growth of the RBBN, get evening events, maybe afternoon events, whether it's a men's only camaraderie event, a women's only camaraderie event. All those things are doable once we get the core taken care of. So it's just a benefit for all of us here. So I just want to give that reminder and kind of excuse myself for apologizing that I'm going to bother you guys in a good way, because I am going to be reaching out, and my goal is to offer these great deals. And I do think it's huge. No, I'm really getting off topic. But anyway, thanks for listening. Now let's go.
Mickey is great at selling, but one thing that he leaves solely to my team is collecting the money. So if there's any outstanding money to the RBBN, please find me, Tal.
Which might be everyone.
Or she'll find you.
Or she'll find you. Or our team will find you.
It's not a promise, it's a threat. Sorry.
So if there's any, if you feel that there might be some, something unclear about how you're paying, it probably is because nothing has been set up yet. So please see me, Tal, if that is the case for you.
A new thing we're setting up, hopefully, Mickey and I are working on this for 2026, is that every member gets a coupon that they can use to invite somebody, a guest, for any event for free as a one-time courtesy to let them experience the RBBN. And they'll get their one-time breakfast. Yeah, any breakfast event. They'll be like, evening events cost a lot more to make. So those will, any breakfast event, they get a free code. They got a code that somebody can come as a free guest. So keep that in mind. We'll be working on that in the coming days. We have to finish going through the 2026 membership list and update it, go through everyone. And that's always a fun part when we start the new year, dealing with that. So just keep in mind for that. For everybody who's new here, please give me your card. We'll add you to the email list and the WhatsApp chat that we have, and you can get informed of next events.
Enjoy, you can give your credit card to Mital and then you become a member.
Yes, and you can always, we let everybody experience what we have here and then decide if they want to become a member. And if you don't think you're able to make it for, each event, you want to just do partial, you could come just come as a paid breakfast person. That's fine as well. We don't hold any we don't hold any grudges on that for anybody who wants to do it that way either. Anyways, on that note, even if you're not new here, this is very important. It's always good to follow up one-on-one with your peers and people that you meet here, because that's the value of the networking. It's you get to meet them, and then you get to schmooze with them, and then you get to follow up with them and see if you each can have intros for each other and any good business leads. February 24th, our next event, we have a special program. We're going to have first of all, Jacob Whitehouse. I'm not going to represent him because I don't know what I'm going to say. I'm going to let him do it next month. We're going to have hopefully a sponsor for February, so we're going to have, unfortunately, 2 speeches for 2 sponsors because it's going to be a makeup, but that's a good excuse. We gave him a pass on that one. He did sponsor, and he had a good excuse why he's not here. and we wish him the best, and we wish him a mazel tov. So that's next month. And speaker for next month is, I have it right here, is going to be Ari Rosenblum. He's the CEO of the Jewish Federation and Foundation of Rockland County, and this should be a very interesting event. Invite your friends. What's that? And yes,
He's great.
okay. And actually, Chaim and I, we went to the RBA event this past week, a week ago, and I met Bill Weber there, and I just happened to be walking out with him from the event, and I told him about our event, and so he offered to speak for us as well one time. So we're going to hopefully get him here, and then Chaim said he followed up with him. Wow, he would have been here today. So we'll get him at one of the future events. So thank you, Esther, for bringing me to that event and getting more connections, and we can hopefully do more collaboration.
Add to that, Tina Traster, Rockland County Business Journal online. That is the best source of business news in Rockland. Offered to come as a guest speaker also.
Okay, excellent. There we go. We got a good lineup here coming up. Okay, now and today's speaker, I just to give a shout out to Chaim Book. Chaim is a longtime member of our group, and I have to thank Duvi Kogel, my brother-in-law, for introducing us. And Chaim is my own company's attorney for employment issues. So thank you. He set up employee handbooks, and he sets up employee policies, makes sure you have everything in check. And I just, this is something very important, is that I don't even know any, Chaim is the man for this. Him and Morty, his brother, Book Law, they are the go-to for this type of work. And anybody who thinks of anything employee law related, Chaim and Morty Book they're like, you know, if anybody thinks somebody does a website, who do you think of, right? Think of me, right? Hopefully. So Chaim and Morty are the employment lawyers in the law firm that deals with that specifically. So as it's 2026, it's very appropriate to have Chaim represent us and just give us some wisdom, words of wisdom on things to keep in mind as it's 2026. Without further ado, I'd like to call Chaim and give us a wonderful presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it. Okay. So I was told I don't get to use a PowerPoint, so excuse me that I have notes instead. Old school, I guess. So good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. One day late for Happy Rosh Chodesh. And happy to be here this morning. So people ask me what I do. I tell them I'm a lawyer. They right away either run in the other direction, or they ask me some question about medical malpractice law, personal injury law, real estate law. I don't know any of those things. So I practice employment law, and I meet a fair number of people who say, oh, well, nice to know you, but that doesn't affect me. It doesn't have anything to do with me because I don't have any employees. So I will tell you that almost everyone you know, I won't say everyone, but almost everyone you know is an employer in some way, shape, or form. If you have a housekeeper, if you have a parent or a sibling that unfortunately needs some help, and you have someone working in their house, giving them help and working with them and looking after them, you pay for that person. You are an employer. If you have a business and you have someone who occasionally comes in to do something, you are an employer. So most people really are employers. And the most common thing that I get, even when people do have a business of their own and have people working for them, is, oh, I don't have to worry about any of those things because I don't really have any employees. I only have independent contractors. I only have 1099s. And as I like to say, it's probably the biggest mistake I see people make in business because depending on where you're doing business, if you're doing business in the state of New York, more complicated in the state of New Jersey, even more complicated in some of the other states. You may not really have independent contractors working for you. They may really be employees that you're just paying in a different way, and you're thinking that because I pay them in a different way, and they asked me, so it must be okay. They asked me if I could do this, right? So of course it's okay because they're okay with it, so it must be okay. The government doesn't agree with that. In order for someone to be an independent contractor, the first rule is take the word independent, right? They really have to be independent. So that means that they have to set their own hours. They have to essentially have the ability to have their own, work for other people, have their own business in a way. In some states, they would require you to have that. They would require that person to have literally a separate business set up with a corporation, have a website advertising their services. So it's not so simple. The second thing that people tell me is, "Oh well, okay, yeah, they make their own hours. Isn't that enough?" The answer is not necessarily, because if you're providing training, if you are making them follow your policies and your rules, they may not be independent. So this is an area that we're finding that the Department of Labor, particularly in New York, is paying a lot of attention to. Folks tell me, but I've been doing this for 30 years and it's never been a problem. And I congratulate you for that. You've managed to get away with it, so to speak, for 30 years. I will tell you that Governor Hochul gave a very big boost to the budget of New York State Department of Labor in 2025 and into 2026 and continuing. And they hired a lot of new people. And that means they have people sitting at a desk all day with nothing to do. And they're looking for stuff to do. And so one of the things that they're looking at is when you have somebody who works for you and you're treating them like an independent contractor, and you're paying them like an independent contractor, and then they stop working for you, and they say, oh, well, I worked, so I must be entitled to unemployment. And they file an application for unemployment. Guess what? A red light goes off, a flag goes off. What's going on here? Who is this person? We've never seen anything related to any deductions for this person for unemployment. We don't see anything that there's been any workers' compensation for this person. Let's find out from the employer. And then they go to the employer and they say, we want to see your records, not just for this person, but anyone that you have working for you on a 1099 basis. And now all of a sudden you've opened up a very big can of worms. So it's a very big issue, and I tell people all the time, if you think you have someone who qualifies as an independent contractor and you're confident that you check all of the boxes, check again. Talk to somebody who knows this area, because even, unfortunately, even if you hit 90% of the boxes on the checklist, and there's no official checklist, I'm just using that as a, as a term of speech. But even if you hit most of the boxes, if you don't hit all of the boxes, the Department of Labor has something to say. And I'm not even talking about the IRS, I'm not even talking about the New York State Department of Taxation. They have their own issues with independent contractors, but the Department of Labor alone will give you a lot of misery for that. So be very careful with that. We're getting into 2026 now, new year, so new minimum wage. Shocking. Minimum wage has gone up. Here in Rockland, it's $16 an hour. If you're doing business, if you have employees in New York City, in Long Island, and Westchester, it's $17 an hour. And then the other thing that comes up is, when I tell this to people about minimum wage, is, oh, well, I don't have to worry so much about my workers because none of them are hourly workers. They're all on a salary. And that's another very big mistake that people make, unfortunately, because just setting a salary is not enough to get you off of the requirement with respect to timekeeping, which is a requirement, it's not just a suggestion, it's a requirement. Timekeeping and overtime issues. These are very, very big issues. You may have somebody who say, okay, I'm paying them $1,200 a week. Good enough, right? I'm done with this whole timekeeping thing. I'm done with this whole overtime thing. Not anything to worry about? The answer is you do have to pay attention to it. Because number one, it's not just how much you pay. $1,200 should do it, although not everywhere in New York. If you're in New York City, Long Island, Westchester, it's $1,275 actually a week in order for you to get out of that hour keeping requirement. But that's not enough. They have to have another thing that shows in terms of what they do. They cannot be your regular, truck driver, warehouse worker who's just making a high salary because it's hard to find them. They actually have to be doing something in a supervisory capacity or in an executive capacity. So, and there are strict requirements on that, and you have to look at that also. So again, you have to be very careful about this thing. I have seen many situations in which the employee got paid very, very well and still filed a claim for overtime. And it was still a problem because there were no time records. And the very basic rule, unfortunately, in New York and New Jersey, and actually at this point, most of the United States, is that they're all, most certainly the eastern states in the United States. Southern may be a little bit more employer friendly, but in the eastern part of the United States, it's very, very much employee friendly. The government is very employee friendly. West Coast also, California, very much employee friendly state. So what that means is that, as we talked about, you have required to keep time records. If you do not have time records and the employee says, I work 60 hours a week, I work 70 hours a week, I work 80 hours a week, you could say, but that makes no sense because we were closed for Shabbos and we were closed and we open late on Tuesday, whatever it is. Basically, the burden is on you to disprove what they're saying. So if you don't have time records, in all likelihood, the employee is going to be believed. So it's really, really important to keep time records. I can't emphasize it enough. So salary we talked about, well, just remind you again, a salaried worker, it's okay that you don't have time records if they fit into, number one, if they're receiving a minimum amount, which in Rockland, since we're in Rockland right now, is it's $1,200. Basically, if they're making $1,200 or more a week, and they're either a supervisor or in an executive capacity. If they're not, then you have to keep hours, and they would be eligible for overtime. So you have to be very careful about this. Some things to know for 2026 is there's a new law in New York, which will require you, as of May, if you have 10 or more employees, you will have to set up a Roth IRA. You can talk to Doug about this, or Doug Barrett, as we like to call him. Davitsky is sitting here. You need to set up a Roth IRA. It's required by law. It does not have to cost you anything. You just need to have it available for employees. The state will have a plan set up on their website. I can't tell you if it will be any good. Likely is it won't be much good. It's just state government for you. But so you can look into setting it up yourself with someone who's qualified to set that up for you. But that will be required. Someone asked me just the other day, oh, but I have a yeshiva, so we're exempt, right? Nope. No exemption for yeshivas, no exemption for not-for-profits for this one. So everyone is going to need to do this for all of their employees. They will have to set up a retirement program. Another thing to know for 2026, in many businesses, when they hire employees, they do a credit check on them. There are very, very few businesses that will be allowed to do that when this law goes into effect April 18th. Certain industries you will be able to do it. If you are not sure if you qualify for that, you can certainly talk to me about that. But most businesses will not be able to do that. The other thing that's interesting for 2026 is, and I hear this from time to time too. I don't know what the interference there is. I can get rid of the microphone altogether. I could probably be heard because I have a pretty loud voice. There you go. Put a hanger in. For another thing to know for 2026 is that in the past, I know that some businesses do this. They have a situation where it's a complicated job that they're hiring people for, so they offer training programs, but the training costs money. So they have a policy that if a person doesn't stay for more than 6 months, a year, whatever it is, that they try to charge back that training to the employee. That practice will be banned as of sometime this year. This is sort of a tricky area because the question is, because they passed this law and then they had second thoughts about it, so they kept the law in place, but they put the effective date in for December, and they're still tweaking with it, they're playing with it. But the question that came up as a result of it is, what if you pay somebody a signing bonus or some other type of bonus, and you want them to pay it back if they leave before a certain time? Under the law, the way it was passed, you would not be able to make them pay it back. But they're talking about tweaking that. But one thing for sure, on the training program, you will not be able to charge them. So those are some of the changes for 2026. By the way, we have a small crowd, so I'm happy to take questions on any employment law subject. Sure, go ahead. Pardon me?
Usually deferred signing bonus, but I don't get the bonus until they're
So the question was, can you do a deferred signing bonus, which is that you hire somebody, you tell them that if you stay here 6 months, you stay here a year, you'll get a bonus. That you can do. The question is whether you're allowed to claw it back, ask them to pay it back if they leave before a certain time, and that is the one that's still up in the air in terms of that is concerned. But the thing that they were really trying to address is, and we've seen this particularly in the healthcare field, where, and particularly, I don't know if anyone here is involved with ABA, particularly in ABA also, we've seen a number of these companies where they train people who have no training whatsoever. The training costs whatever it costs them, and they tell someone, if you're not going to stay with us 6 months, you're not going to stay with us a year, you're going to have to pay this training money back. You had a question?
Now, for bonus, can you write in the contract with a hiring letter that you leave within 12 months for back the bonus?
So the question was, if you put it in the contract, will you be, that if you don't stay a year, that you can require the person to pay back the bonus? That's the part that's under discussion. The way the law was originally written, the answer would be no. There's a lot of lobbying going on, as you can imagine, particularly for financial firms, where this is a big deal. So they're sort of lobbying about it. So they pushed off the effective date to December, and they're tweaking, in terms of what it will apply to. So that is still up in the air.
And can't you, if you don't put a word in as you think, get the bonus back, just put it in as a penalty. I'm hiring you for a year, and we're putting in a contract. I'm hiring you on condition you stay a year, and if you breach a contract, we're putting in the contract now that you agree to pay me $10,000.
The question was, if you put it in the contract and you just say it's a penalty, that it's the same issue. Any way you slice it.
Then how could they?
Again, that's the issue. The government that feels that employees are pressured into doing things that they don't want to do, and they're trying to prevent that kind of thing. They feel that if this is money that was earned, that it shouldn't be clawed back. I agree with you in principle, particularly when you're talking about high earning individuals who are getting a very nice amount of money in order to join. They might be getting a signing bonus. It could even be, I've seen in some situations in executive contracts, a person might be getting more than $100,000 just to sign with this company. The notion that they can just walk out the door a few months later is offensive, which is why I think that that will be exempt when all is said and done. But I'm bringing it to your attention because there will be situations. Certainly, as I said, the training programs for sure, you will not be able to do that. That they're not even talking to change that at all.
Companies are going to make the employees pay for training.
So the question is, what can employers charge for the training? Yes and no. Love the lawyer answer of yes and no, right? Yes and no, because there are number one, and this is another area where people are confused about, which is, if I hire somebody and require them to do training, I don't have to pay them for that part. They're getting the benefit of the training. The answer to that is wrong. You do have to pay somebody if they're doing a training program for your benefit. You do have to pay them for that time. So what some companies have done is they say, we're not even going to offer you the job. You have to take this training program. It's a free program, so to speak. If you don't, after you finish that program, you don't have to work for us. You can. You don't have to. That will probably work. But to charge somebody for the program once they've started to work for you, that does have some questions.
Paying them for their time to work for you.
Correct.
The actual course, let's say it costs $1,000 extra dollars to train someone. So that's how they're going to make this law where I can leave tomorrow. If the employer has this issue, I don't see why he won't be able to say, okay, look, this is your charge. I'll pay you for your time, which means whatever you're getting paid a salary or hourly wage, you're getting that. But the training is your problem because then it's going to get burnt. So the guy leaves.
I understand the concern. At the same time, if you're talking about, we're talking very practically speaking, because we're all practical people here. On a practical level, if you're hiring somebody for a $20 an hour job, $25 an hour job, the notion that you're going to charge them $1,000, $1,500 to take the course, and that they're going to actually pay it. The reason why companies have come up with this thing where we're going to offer you the free training, but if you leave, we'll claw it back, is because most people can't afford that out of pocket. If you charge them, I suppose that will be fine. Most people can't pay it. On a practical level, if you want the employees, you have to sort of offer them this training.
Would you be able to, let's say, have a separate company that offers training and say, listen, you need this qualification in order to get this job? Here are 2-3 companies that, let's just argue about, have the same owners as the other companies, that offer this training. They charge $1,500. It's a 2-week program. What we'll offer to you is that over the course, if you take this training and pass it, you now have that on your resume and say, we will pay that $1,500 over the next 2 months, otherwise you owe them the money. For the next 3 months, something like that.
You could try to come up with all kinds of different workarounds. The bottom line is, if you're going to have a separate company, if it's related to your company, common ownership, common bank accounts, and the like, the government knows that it's just a workaround. If you have a completely separate company that I suppose could work. At the same time, the issue really is what they don't want. The name of the law that they passed is called the Trapped at Work Act, meaning that the government's notion is that there are people who are trapped in a job because they can't leave because there's some kind of penalty to them, that if they leave they're going to lose some kind of money, and that's what they're legislating against. So the training program where you can't leave, and honestly I've seen it in some cases. I hear where you're coming from. It makes sense. It sounds very fair. But I've seen situations where literally they make the person stay for 5 years, even though the course really didn't cost the company anything. They still have this penalty in there of you have to pay $10,000 if you leave within 5 years. I've seen that situation, and that's really not. I'm not going to call it slavery, but it's really, very offensive in terms of you really imprisoning people in a job, and that's the kind of thing that they're really legislating against. They initially legislated very broadly to the extent that Wall Street got offended and put a hold on it, so to speak. But that's where we are. The training programs, I have no doubt that's going to remain the situation. Not going into effect until December. So if you have anything going on right now, you might want to collect that money back right away. But that's where we are.
How to protect employees while at the same time protecting the employer, while limiting the amount of time you can trap someone, which means, and of course, simple calculation, the more it costs, the more time, and make max. So you don't trap someone for 5 years, just to broadly say you can't do it, and an employee has to spend, could be anywhere from 1 or 5,000 to train someone, and then they walk out the door with it.
I hear your concern. I mean, if we're going to be a little bit cynical about it, I mean, honestly, the government doesn't think much of employers. They really do think more of employees. That's just that's the reality. But I would say if you really want to think about this a little bit more creatively, it just came to mind this second. But I mean, what you could do is you could, let's say that the training program costs $5,000, whatever it is. You disclose that to the employee before they start. You have a payroll deduction. Spread it out over time, so that if they do leave after 6 months or so, at least you've recouped some of your money. But you cannot have, the way the law is set up right now, you cannot recoup all of your money by saying if you leave before a certain date, you have to repay it. That's unfortunately just how the law has been written. So something good to know about. Another question?
I just thought related to this, maybe this would work. If the training program costs $5,000, and the employer discloses to the employee, look, this is costing me, this training that could really further your career, costing me, costing our company $5,000, we're covering that for you. And then after a year, you will automatically get a raise of at least $5,000.
Yeah, might be an interesting workaround, sure.
And then there's
Sure.
no legal issue,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no money lost.
I hear that. It's interesting. Maybe you want to come work for us. We'll There you go. There you go.
Is pro sports going to be exempt from this?
Timekeeping.
Yes.
It was mentioned that anybody making under a certain amount has to be timekeeping.
Yeah.
Have somebody, for argument's sake, who's in a managerial role, who who's given different options of how they can do their timekeeping. They're just refusing to do the timekeeping. They're not, they let's say work from home or whatever, and just don't clock in, don't clock out, but they're getting most of the work done, and then, and I have no idea how many hours they're working. It's going to be my word against their word.
It's going to be your word against their word, and honestly, I mean, and I say this all the time, people ask, like, what do you do if? The answer is, you're the boss, and you set the rules, and if they're not willing to keep to the rules, then you have to do something about it. I mean, whether it's disciplining, whether it's firing the person, you're exposing yourself to risk by allowing them to get away with something that potentially can expose you to very, very significant liability. So I'd be careful about that. The last thing that I want to mention today is sick leave, because it's as much as the reality is that it's been around for a while, and folks still don't seem to be paying attention to it. You are required to give 5 paid sick. If you're a very large company, it's more than 5 days. But for the average employer, it's 5 paid sick days per year. You can either give them the 5 paid sick days at the beginning of the year to use any time during the year, or you can require them to accrue it over a period of time, which is a calculation for doing that. But it is 5 paid sick days. You cannot tell somebody, oh, well, I'm giving you the 5 paid sick days, but you use it over Chol Moed, or you use it, when I'd like to take vacation, during the spring or summer. You cannot dictate when the person takes it. They can take it whenever they need it for. And it doesn't only cover an actual illness. It can cover the person's child's illness, the person's parent's illness. It can be a school closure. It could be weather related, whatever it is. What's unbelievable that has been passed with almost no comment by anybody that I've seen on social media recently is that in New York City, I don't know if you have a business in New York City, but they just passed something this year that's going into effect in February that not only requires you to give the 5 paid sick days, but in addition to that, you have to give 32 hours of unpaid sick leave that's available to the employee the first day that they start. So they don't even have to be there a certain period of time before they get any rights to it. This is really unbelievable law. I don't know why no one's commented on it. But literally, you have somebody walk in and start today. and tomorrow they can tell you I'm not feeling well, or my child's not feeling well, I'm going to be out for the next few days. You don't have to pay them, so that's the good news. But what a great impression they just made on you, and how great you feel about keeping an employee like this. So you have to put those personal feelings aside, let it go. They have the right to do it, and hopefully they'll be productive in other ways. So that's how that works. Yes. So that's it. So there's the good news. Okay. Thank you for coming up with some good news. So one common question I get is, so are you required to give vacation, paid time off, etc.? No, you're not. You're required to give off on legal holidays? No, you're not. If I do have someone working on a legal holiday, do I have to pay them extra for that? The answer is no, you're not. The only thing that's required by law in New York, and New Jersey for that matter, is paid sick leave. And now we have in New York City unpaid sick leave. That's a new one. There are certain other things that are required in certain situations. For example, there's also if you have any women who are working for you who are pregnant and need to take time off for doctor's visits, for prenatal testing, for other types of prenatal treatment, there is extra sick leave that's available for them. But those are the only things that are required by law. So you don't have to give vacation. You don't have to give personal days off. Now, as a business practice, is it a good idea to say I'm just giving the bare minimum? Probably not. You need to think about that. One thing that I do advise is bundle everything together so that you're not giving twice, so to speak. You get 10 PTO days, that covers all of your sick leave, that covers all of your other leave, etc. Do you have to pay them out at the end of the year? That's another very common question. I'm glad you brought that up. I get this all the time. Someone just quit. They want their accrued PTO. I'm firing somebody. Do I have to give them the accrued PTO? So the lovely thing about New York and New Jersey is they have this thing that says, if you have a written policy that says, no, you don't get that, then the person doesn't get it. If you don't have that written policy, then they do get it. So very important to have that as a written policy if you want to avoid that type of liability. I think my time is up, but I'm happy to stick around in any other questions. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you want to be on the same page, or if you want to be a little bit corny, if you want to be in the same book, I guess reach out to him for all your needs. Great job. Thank everyone for showing up. What we're going to be doing is, we're going to be doing the group photo. So if everyone can make their way up, we can do that quickly. And then of course, key is follow-ups. Follow us. So set up your meetings, see how we could work with your network, how your network can work with mine, and this way we can all grow business together. We love hearing success stories. Everyone please make your way to the front.